So let's predict some things here as we look at a busy Thursday. It's busy night, dead night, busy night, dead night. I like this with the NHL. I like this scheduling a lot. I'm glad that they've gone this route. They definitely have a smart thing going here. Your heavy days should be your Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. Should be your really busy days for hockey. All right, now the Anaheim Ducks, who are 0-3-1 and somehow aren't in last place. I'll get to that in a minute. Are in Philadelphia against the 1-1-1 Flyers. The Ducks can't keep losing. So I'll take the Ducks in this one, 3-1. New Jersey's in Boston. This is Boston's first home game of the year. They had a productive 2 wins out of 3 on the road. The only loss they had, of course, was to Toronto. Otherwise, they would have been 3-0 on the road, and I would have been relatively happy. But 2-1 on the road is respectable. And beating Winnipeg is a respectable result. So with them at home against New Jersey can't score. Tuukka Rask was all over the poster I saw this morning for Bruins hockey. As long as Rask is playing, I will take Boston to win this one 3-0. Just a sec, talking to my girlfriend here. San Jose's in Pittsburgh. San Jose's 3-1. Pittsburgh's 2-1-1. Pittsburgh might be starting to feel the loss of Crosby. They might be starting to feel that pressure. San Jose is coming in off of a win. This is a tough one. I'll take Pittsburgh 3-2 in overtime. Arizona's in Montreal. Montreal's coming off a win. Arizona's coming off of a loss. I think Montreal wins this one 4-2. Columbus is in Tampa. Tampa's won their first 3. Colorado lost 1 in Washington, and they didn't look good in Washington. They looked really quite bad in Washington. I think Tampa keeps the good times rolling, and I think Colorado is showing signs of potentially not being better than they were last year. I'll say 4-2 win for Tampa. Washington's in Florida. Washington's won 2 in a row. Florida lost that game. Tough game to lose in overtime to Tampa. You can't lose that game. So Florida should be motivated. I'll take Florida to beat Washington 3-2. Toronto, coming off of a overtime loss in Winnipeg. They're in Minnesota tonight. Well, Leaf fans, this is when this season's gonna start to feel long again. The key is this: they're a much more fun team to watch than they were, but their defensive structure still isn't what it could be, and blowing a 4-goal lead against Winnipeg, that's rough. The funny thing is, of course, the comment was made last night, oh great, now everybody's going to say Laine is better than Matthews. Laine has a better team than Matthews. Laine scored his goals at the very end of the game, and if not for those 2 goals, A, Winnipeg loses, and B, we'd be talking today about how Matthews is better than Laine. So 2 minutes of hockey does not decide which of 2 players is better, especially when they're frickin' rookies, okay? It makes for a better conversation that Laine and Matthews both have hat tricks early in their seasons, but it doesn't state which one's better than which. I will take the stifling Minnesota Wild over Toronto tonight, 3-1. And again, this is when things can teeter. Hopefully Toronto can turn it around. And I don't say that as a Leafs fan, obviously. I say that because as a Canadian fan, Canadian hockey fan, the more Canadian teams are in a playoff run, playoff spot, contending, the better it is for everybody. So hopefully they can come out with a win tonight. But I'm taking Minnesota in that one. Dallas, my Stars, are at home tonight against the LA Kings. The LA Kings are the only reason that Anaheim's not last, because Anaheim has a loser point. Go Canada. And LA does not. In Dallas, without Jonathan Quick. Dallas, without a real goaltender. Leighton had a good game against Nashville, so he's due for a bummer of a game tonight. But LA doesn't have a great offense either, so it's a pick 'em. I'll take Dallas in that. I'll say Dallas scores 5. I'll say LA scores 4. I was going to say 3, but I thought, 4. It's got to be 4. I don't think that'll be an overtime game, though. Carolina's in Calgary. So Carolina winless on this road trip so far. Calgary's not going to be nice to them either. Calgary 3-1 over Carolina. St. Louis is in Edmonton. St. Louis, of course, was put to sleep by the Vancouver Canucks in their last game. A game the Canucks never led for a minute until they scored in overtime, which I'll get to in a second here. Edmonton wins their last game. They were 3-1. St. Louis has problems that were shielded in the first 3 games of the year and showed up against Vancouver. Now they're in Edmonton. Edmonton, I think, is a better team. I think they're more offensively capable. I know they're more offensively capable. They've got frickin' McDavid and Draisaitl. So, Edmonton, I'm going to take Edmonton to win this one 3-1. And I never thought I'd see the day that happened, that I took Edmonton to go 4-1 on St. Louis. I never thought I'd see the day. Vancouver, the team that hasn't led for a minute in a hockey game yet, but is 3-0. Because overtime, that crapshoot that happens, they're good at it. They're against Buffalo. Buffalo comes in with 1 win in three games this year. They've looked good in one of those games. The other 2, in Edmonton, they looked iffy. Or in Calgary, they looked iffy. In Edmonton, they looked good. And in Montreal, they were abysmal. So, it depends on which Buffalo team shows up in Vancouver. Of course, these are expansion brothers. I don't think they're going to hug before the game and sing Kumbaya songs together, because they're expansion brothers who've never won anything. So they've got that in common. For all the talk about the French Connection in the 70s, the French Connection didn't win a Stanley Cup, so it really doesn't matter. Both teams are looking at a record of futility that's really sad when you put them together. In terms of who's going to win tonight, the mathematician in me that says things have to even out, and the Canucks have lucked out. I'm trying to think of the season it was, but there was a season almost 10 years ago. I think it was it before we got Luongo? Anyways, I remember the Canucks went on a road trip and they won a lot of games they shouldn't have. And I remember Vigneault, I was coach at the time, said, "Yeah, it's good that we won, but we're getting some lucky bounces here and there, and we really probably shouldn't be where we are." And I remember Canuck fans at the time saying, "Oh, this isn't right. Our coach should just be happy and focus on the yada yada yada." I get that feeling with the Canucks now too, and the problem is this: you go into a game, you sleepwalk through most of it, you win the game, you do it again, you do it again. So 3 games in a row they've been able to sleepwalk, come back, and win. And don't anybody tell me they got down against Carolina 3-0 at home on purpose, because that was abysmal. Yeah, they came back and won. That's all that matters. Not really, because what can happen is the players will look and go, "Well, we're 3-0." And then they may not focus on the parts of their game that aren't working. This happens a lot with a lot of teams that'll get off to a good start in the season and they go, "Hey, we're doing really well. We're a good team." And that starts to sink in and they start to believe their hype. And they might get a little bit lazy, and some of the mistakes they're making that are getting hidden by other portions of the game, all of a sudden they lose. Maybe they lose bad. And go, "Wait, what happened? We played the same way we did the other night." Yeah. The difference is this wasn't the same team you were playing against, and you didn't get the lucky bounces, and you didn't come back tonight. If Buffalo gets up early, this could be a game where Vancouver has problems. Really could. And Vancouver hasn't scored first yet this year. Yeah, there are things to look at and say, "Oh, Horvat's playing great. Yeah, he is. Bo Horvat is proving that I'm right. Bo Horvat's my favorite player in the league, and he has the potential to be to the Canucks what Jonathan Toews is to the Blackhawks. He may not score you points every night. He may have the odd gaff here and there, but when you need a leader in a big game, he's there. And that's the potential Bo Horvat has. But Louis Eriksson hasn't looked good for the most part. And I think their blue line, there's cracks there, and I'm just waiting for somebody to blow right past it. Buffalo probably isn't that team, but O'Reilly's looked really good early in the season. Okposo looks like he's fitting right in with the Buffalo Sabres. And if you cheer for Buffalo, there's a lot of things to like that are going on right now. There are a lot of positives if you're a Sabres fan. The problem is the results just aren't there yet, and I don't know that they're going to be there. I said in comment section on another video, I feel that the Blackhawks are a year or two away from being a playoff team. And I still feel that way. Yes, the building blocks are there. Yes, the team's getting better. I still don't see them as being there yet. Josh Georges is doing his best, but ideally he's a number 6 defenseman at this stage in his career. And Brian Gianta's done yeoman's work early in the season, but he is past his prime, and he can't be expected to keep delivering at the offensive level he's delivered in early or delivered early in the season. So, oh man, this is such a tough call. This is the toughest game to call of them all because I genuinely feel like Buffalo's probably going to win this game. I genuinely feel like Buffalo's going to win this game probably 2-1. I genuinely feel that. But it's one of those games that the Canucks are at home. They should win it. So I'll split it. Okay, people? The hockey guy says 2-1. The Canuck fan in me says 3-0 Vancouver. Markstrom with the shutout, and they go to 4-0. So, you know, that's the internal argument that I'm dealing with on a daily basis. The cold, hard facts of looking at stats, looking at numbers says, you know, the Canucks have had a lot of puck luck to get to where they're at right now. And that has to turn because it always does. No team can look back over an 82-game season and say, wow, we had a lot of luck to get here. No. This game looks like it's a Buffalo win, 2-1. And I say 2-1 because Vancouver suffocates the life out of hockey games. And I think they may end up relying on a comeback again tonight. I could see it being 2-0 Buffalo after the second. And then in the third, Bo Horvat scores early in the third. And all the Canucks fans are all excited. And then it just falls short. We're talking about like in the last minute of the game, Lanner's down and kicking everything out right, left, and center. And, you know, shots are going off his chest and off his mask. And the Canucks just can't quite get it in the net. So that way, even if Vancouver loses, I'm still going to get a lot of comments about, oh, well, hey, you know, we dominated in the last couple minutes of that game. But if you look over an 82-game schedule, like I pointed out before this season started, that the Jays, the Leafs lost, I think it was 27 games by 1 goal. And I said that's going to turn around for them. So if they can turn around even half of those games, they're a 500 team. And the Canucks could be that team this year that loses a lot of games by 1. They're going to be this close quite a bit. Because it's just not... Anyways, I'm going to get a lot of flack for that. You're not really a Canucks fan. How dare you? But, as I've said before, this channel isn't about who my favorite teams are. It's about me looking at hockey, looking at the big picture, 30 teams, not reacting to one game and saying, okay, I'm going to make this wild statement. Laine is better than Matthews because of last night's game, which is just not true. And, you know, I'm not going to make statements based on a few games because that's not how hockey works. It's not how GMs work. Can you imagine if a GM after 3 games into the season said, well, I'm starting to rebuild. We're 0-3. It's rebuild time. So the Kings come out and they trade Quick and they trade Kopitar and they trade Doughty, and everybody goes nuts. And then the GM's like, well, we were 0-3. Clearly, we're not playing well. So I figured, tear it apart, tear it down. And then, for the Canucks, they're up 3. They have 3 wins in a row. Pick up some veterans. We traded away the next 4 first-round draft picks so we can pick up some veterans because we're going for it. And that's what people are like, what? What? Why? It's only 3 games into the season. And that's how I feel when people say, oh, this is great. It's only 3 games into the season. I can't get excited. Just like if your team is 0-3, don't give up. If you're a Leafs fan right now, don't give up. Rather than focusing on it and saying, oh, we blew the lead, go look at it and say, we have a young team that was up 4-0, and this was a big learning experience for them. Never let up. And, this is a good chance now for Babcock to say, okay, we were up 4-0 last night, guys. Here's where we blew it. Here's the drills we're going to run. Here's the skills we got to practice, and then we'll get it next time. And the next time they have a 4-0 lead, there's not even consideration that they'll blow it. Babcock is a very good coach. He'll get it all straightened out. By the end of this year, Toronto, I feel, will probably be one of the top 12 teams in the league. But in between now and then, I feel they'll lose enough games that they'll fall out of contention. So the trick is this. That means that towards the end of the season, they'll start winning this year, and Leafs fans will complain that they're losing a chance at Liljegren or Patrick or any other top prospect. But for Babcock, this is the year that should be better than last year. And he's a good enough coach to make it happen. So, anyways, those are my opinions on tonight. Let me know who you feel is going to win, going to lose, early season storyline you're interested in. And I will talk to you all again soon. Thanks for watching. Oh, and just as an add-on, I got 11 hours of sleep last night. And I'll get into my daily schedule soon. Because there's a person I had to mute last night for throwing the C-bomb at me, which is fine at work. I get that at work a lot, but I throw it at work a lot too. But there's reasons I don't sleep. And it has nothing to do with this. And it has nothing... Yeah. There's a lot more to why I don't sleep. There's a lot of reasons why I don't sleep. So, anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all again really soon.